Welcome back, guys. Today we're gonna fish, but we're gonna focus on rod ratings, because that's a common question that we get on the channel, is what kind of rod, what kind of ratings are important. So we're gonna cover that quite a bit today, but we're gonna be fishing incoming tide all the way to like 11. It's not going to be too windy today, so that's good. And according to the wave strength calculator, I'll leave the link below, we're only going to experience a low wave strength, so there's not going to be a lot of sweeper waves, and there shouldn't be strong current. So we can get away, if we do Carolina rig, we can get away with a lot lighter of a Carolina rig. So we'll start it off with that. Today we'll be throwing the Trifecta Light. Mario says he's ready. He sees some juiciness.
I found the spot, guys. We're about to hit the mother load.
So he's also got the Phoenix Trifecta Light.
It's actually the
same rating, same specs. It's the 1003 medium light. So that answers the first question. It's actually known as a salmon steelhead rod. Very parabolic. The bend goes like all the way over here. Actually, go ahead and can you split it? Show everyone. This splits, most rods split in a 50-50 fashion, where the butt end is the same length as the top end. This is actually known as a 60-40 split. So 40% of the rod is the bottom or butt section, and then 60% is actually this top section, which really gives it that bend, and that really allows you to transfer power from the handle to the end all the way down to the bottom third of the rod. So it really loads up really well. But that's what you want to look for when you're looking for a rod with the capability to throw the 5/8 ounce lure like the Kalisa.
And guys, I know we spent a lot of time talking about the Phoenix Trifecta Light in this video. The problem is it's not really your budget rod. These are just about $200 each, and to add on top of that, they're super rare. Phoenix just doesn't make a lot of them, and if you can find a 1003 medium light, just get it. Consider yourself lucky that you have an opportunity to get one, because no tackle shops really have them. Sometimes our local tackle shop, Been There Caught That, has them because they have a good relationship with Phoenix. So Phoenix tries to get them as many as possible, but there's definitely not enough out there in terms of supply to meet that demand. But there is another rod I highly recommend that doesn't cost an arm and a leg, and it's around $60. It's the Okuma Cellulo. This rod is awesome. It has been a great rod for me for a really long time, but make sure you get the 9'6". It's really flimsy. It's kind of a noodle rod, but it can definitely handle throwing that 1/2 ounce lure very well, and gets you great distance, and it can bring in some really good fish. So that's definitely one that I would recommend. And then as a bonus, I do recommend like a 3500 or 4000 series reel to go with that, with 30-pound braid. Most of these salmon steelhead rods are rated for 6 to 12-pound monofilament line, but for the surf we use braid. And if you look at the equivalent to that in terms of diameter in braid, you're looking at about 30-pound test. 30-pound test is equivalent to 8-pound monofilament, and all the rod ratings are standardized to monofilament line. So when you're looking at a rod, not only is the lure weight important, the action important, but also that line rating.
So this is, again, 30-pound braid, and it's just right for this rod because it falls within that 6 to 12 spectrum that this rod is rated for. So that's another thing to think about, is what kind of line are you going to put on. Braid just tends to cast a lot farther, and it serves better in the surf than if you're going to go all mono.
That's why we like using 30-pound braid. It's the maximum in terms of, if you have a bad cast, it's not just going to snap on you, but you get maximum distance, and it flows off the reel a lot better than monofilament, and it doesn't degrade as fast as mono or fluorocarbon. Hopefully that helps you guys. Check out that Okuma Cellulo if you're looking for a really nice rod to get you started in that $60 price point. 9'6", medium light action. That's where it's at. Get yourself a 3500 series reel or 4000, but also when you look at the reels, make sure you go as lightweight as possible as well. So that's an important rating that you want to look for in reels. Hopefully this helps you guys out. A lot of the comments in our videos are really, really awesome. It's the best compliment we can get is that because of something that they learned from a Hook to Cook episode, they've been able to catch their first or had their best day out on the water. So that's a great compliment. Another great compliment is definitely dropping a like on videos like this. So we appreciate all the support. Let's get back to the video.
This thing is rated to cast from 1/4 ounce to 3/4 ounce, which means that on the heavy side, it can cast a 3/4 ounce lure or weight. If I were to double that and throw like a 1.5 ounce, which is more standard for Carolina rigging, that's gonna be too high for the rod rating, and eventually there's a high probability that it'll fail.
Oh my God.
So we don't want to do that. And I brought 1/2 ounce and 3/4 ounce weights, so that's what I'm going to try today if I have to resort to Carolina rig.
Which I didn't. It's really tough to go for fish on a Carolina rig, especially a light one, and since that rod can only cast 3/4 ounce, and usually with a Carolina rig you want your bait on the bottom, sticking close and tight to the bottom, and still have a good retrieve. It makes it really hard when you're using such a lightweight. And plus, on this day, the wind stayed down the whole day, so I figured I might as well maximize on the Kalisa, because you never know what's gonna bite and when. That bait is good for perch, striper, halibut, and you always have a chance when you're throwing the plug. So I never switched to the Carolina rig this day.
Hopefully we can get them on the lure today. So here's what we're seeing as we're coming up to the spot. Tons of birds combing the beach, and we've seen a lot of sand crabs, a lot of dead ones as well. So that's definitely a good sign. Those birds might be gorging on little invertebrates, on those sand crabs, all right here. And Chandler said something pretty cool. He's like, hopefully there's just as much perch on the other side of them as there are birds on this side. And then there's actually some birds floating on the surface of the water over there. So always keep your eyes peeled on activity. But you can really see there's nice foamy water right here, nice pocket straight ahead. Help you guys identify this kind of stuff. End of January, early February is typically all right for fishing for surf perch. We're joined here today with Mario.
Leading the pack right now.
Leading the pack, he's excited.
Got one thing on our mind, get to the spot. So we're gonna get there, start fishing.
And then if you guys see this face, that means he caught his first surf perch. If not, you're not gonna see this part of the video.
Get him.
Chandler made it.
We're gonna get him today.
Hopefully we can get him on his first Kalisa fish. Is that your PB?
Oh, you caught so good.
Yes.
That's a nice one. That's really your first one?
It's my over 10 inches, yeah.
The first one on a lure too.
Yeah, first Kalisa fish too, yeah. Oh my gosh, the fight was unreal. Unreal, and he hit like a train. Oh my gosh, it literally like stunned me for a second. I was like, no way. I was like, is this real?
That's a solid fish,
I thought I
bro.
was snagged at first. Dang. Wow, that's crazy. First Kalisa fish. That counts.
Lunch. We got lunch in the bag.
Mario was saying that he had a good feeling about today.
Good spot, dude. This is the spot. He ate that Kalisa really nicely. Of course, we're throwing that sardine glow. That's the go-to lure every time. Solid fish, baby.
And a commonly asked question is, how do you get the farthest cast possible on these things? And really, a big part of it is actually very understated. When you're casting, you want at least half your rod length of line out between your tip of your rod to the actual lure. So basically measure halfway down your rod. That's where your lure should be. See that? So this 10-foot rod, you want about 5 foot of line out. It's a good rule of thumb. So if you have maybe an 8-foot rod, 4 feet of line out when you make that cast, and so forth.
Now that rule isn't even set in stone. You can experiment with it, but that's a good rule of thumb, is halfway down your rod is where your line should be when you're gonna make that cast. Because what that allows you to do is it allows that transfer of power from the lower end of the rod to the tip, and it really lets it load up to send that lure out there as far as possible. So really experiment with the line length from the tip of your rod to your lure, and that should allow you to get a better feel for how to create more distance on your cast.
That's your new PB.
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's been tough. Tough bite. I'm skunking. If you're watching this right now though, I caught one because I don't like putting out skunk videos. But the boys caught some. They've been good. I missed 2 bites, and one of the bites pulled a bunch of drag, which my drag was set way too loose. I actually haven't used this Van Staal in a long time, so we'll see. We'll see what this fish looks like. Try to get him. As long as the wind stays down, I'm still gonna fish.
The wind stayed down and I still didn't catch any fish. It was really tough that day, and I wasn't about to tie on the Carolina rig at that point. I was committed to catching something on the Kalisa, but just sometimes it doesn't happen, and this is really my first skunk video that I'm posting. I didn't catch anything in this trip, but I still wanted to bring value to you guys, talk a little bit about rods, and help you guys make the decision if you're in the market for a rod, what things to look out for if you're looking to be specific and cast the lure all day. And the reason I say that is because sometimes you actually have to choose one or the other. You have to choose if you're gonna throw something light or if you're gonna throw something heavy. So that's the conundrum that we're in. There's not one rod that does it both well until possibly now. And that is what I'm really excited about. June, our buddy More Than Fishing, actually designed his own rod. And remember we were talking about lure weights and specs? Well, most rods that are salmon rods, they're maxing out at about 3/4 ounce. So usually it's 1/4 ounce to 3/4 ounce is the range that that rod can throw. Next level up, you're gonna be looking at 1 ounce to 3 ounce or 1 ounce to 2 ounce rods. And then there isn't really one that's in between. However, June did create a rod that's supposed to cast from 1/3 of an ounce all the way up to, I believe, 2 ounces. Let me just double check that real quick. Yep, it is 1/3 ounce all the way up to 2 ounces, which is perfect because now if I want to cast the Kalisa all day, I can. And then if the wind picks up a little crazy, I can throw a 1.5 ounce Carolina rig without being worried that this thing is gonna break. My only concern is it might be too stiff of a rod to where I don't get that much distance out of the Kalisa, but we will find out because June is actually sending one of these Allen rods to my house, and I get to open it and I get to put a reel on it and I get to cast it and experiment with it in the future episodes. So if you guys want to see that rod in action on this channel and you're not subscribed, definitely hit that subscribe button, and that's going to be future videos. So June, thank you so much. And guys, if you're interested in that rod that I'm talking about and you kind of want to experiment with it alongside me, it's $199, which is about the same as the Phoenix Trifecta Light. So if you're not able to find one of those, that would be a good alternative, as well as the $60 Okuma Cellulo. So you got a couple rods that you can mess with and see if it'll work for you. But I'm really excited about that Allen rod. And then all the specs are on the website, morethanfishing.com or .net. Let's double check that too real quick. It is morethanfishing.net. So guys, thank you guys for watching. Even if it was a skunk video, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned a bunch. We'll catch you guys on the next video.